well, welcome to this restorative class. This is a class that is typical of what I teach. So those of you that are familiar, that have been in the studio, this will be familiar to you. And otherwise, I hope you just enjoy it. A couple of things, we want to make sure that we have something like blocks, something that's firm and really sturdy. Something like a soft, small blanket that you can use for little adjustments as necessary. The cotton blanket, something like a cotton blanket, something that's soft, but has some possibilities of being able to roll up or fold up in a particular way. Something that fits about this size. A wool blanket we like because they're a little firmer than the cotton blankets and they just give a little more support. So something like a firm wool blanket, or if you've got even a cushion that might be about 3 or 4 inches thick or so, that is would give you that support. We have a bolster. So here again we have about maybe about 6 inches deep or so, and maybe about 30 inches long, and something like that, or something that you can put together to make a fairly even, level lift for you. Extra things, you may not have anything like this hanging around, but if you have the sandbags, if you have a couple of sandbags, sandbags are kind of hard to use restorative class on your own, but there are some places that you can utilize them and they will impart their benefits. If you have your own eye pillow, then by all means have that with you. You want to, part of this practice is withdrawing from the senses, and this is a large part of the practice, and it's what we focus on a great deal, that being able to turn inward to observe and feel, and just layer by layer letting go of tension and exploring that whole inner landscape through nice supported poses. So that is part of our intention in practice. So let's begin. And we begin very simply, without anything. We begin with a series of warm-ups. And these are warm-ups that I do in pretty much all my classes. And because of where I live in northern Maine, we're just kind of everyday people here, and we live in a cold climate for a lot of the time, or cool climate. And so it's really helpful to warm up the joints and to take our time with that. And it helps us to quiet the mind, helps us to get more into the body. It's a nice little practice in and of itself. So let's all come down to the floor. Knees up and feet flat. I always start that way. I'm going to try to slow it down for us and really shift gears. So this is a restorative class. So allow restoration to happen. Allow letting go, softening, relaxing, all of those things going to, as deep as you can. Oftentimes they talk about restorative yoga now as being the advanced yoga, and it is, because for many of us our minds do not quiet down. Our bodies hold a lot of tension unconsciously. So we're going to take it pose by pose, and let's come down to the floor. So ease yourself down. Now, of course, everyone is going to be different, and you need to really tune in to what you're feeling. So there's my directions and my guidance, but it's also what you are feeling and what you are noticing. Oftentimes I get the high points, the big points, but there might be some things that I might miss that you're experiencing that that I'm not
or I haven't made mention of. So you need to honor your body all the time and do what is right for you. If you need to do something a little bit different, then that's what this class is all about. It really is finding just right, finding your Goldilocks. So I've been sort of settling here, letting my shoulder blades settle, letting my pelvis settle. And that's usually enough for me. If you find that you still have some low back tension, on your exhale, squeeze your belly muscles in really deep, like you're trying to push your navel towards the spine, and then let it go. And maybe you need to do that again, and squeeze the belly muscles in, and let it go. Where we're going is just to release the legs down and out to the floor. You might be able to do that immediately without any problem. That's great. If you have some of that tension, take one leg down and notice how it feels. If that feels good, go ahead and slide the other leg down. And then notice how it feels. So this is our opening. This is a combination of our opening meditation and our warm-ups. We're going right into the body. And if you have music at home, feel free to play music at home. I will not be playing music here on the video. Oh, and we can appreciate that nice little release and letting go. We can take it a little deeper with a full body stretch. So let's bring our arms overhead as you inhale and engage through those toes and out through the fingertips, lengthening the body. And on your exhale, let it all go. Let the breath go, let the body go. And as you're ready, taking a second stretch. And inhale, as we stretch here, squeeze the muscles up in your face. Maybe breathe a little deeper, stretch a little bit more if it feels okay. And then we let it go. Slow releasing. And then feeling the continued letting go, like a ripple effect. And noticing some more releasing, even after you've let go of the stretch. Those arms are going to come down at your side. And then we'll come into what's called cradle. We're going to bring our right knee up and in. Now again, everyone's a little bit different here. Maybe it's hard for you to hold with your hand, in which case a strap would be really great. You can put a strap behind your knee and that will help you to cradle without aggravating anything else. But what we're doing here is we're cradling the knee, thinking of a baby in a cradle, right? It's supported, it needs the support, it can't sustain and support itself. So with your right hand and arm are going to support your knee as it comes out a few inches to the right. The idea is that you're relaxing all through your hip. Bring the knee up to the center, trade it off, and bring it over to the left. And back to center. Let it come maybe a little further. Maybe it's willing to come out a little bit further to the right. And then back to center, trade it off, and draw it over to the left. See if it's willing to go a little bit further to the left. And then you just begin that cradling motion. Maybe you inhale as you bring your knee back to center. Maybe you exhale as that knee comes out. Maybe that's just naturally happening for you. You just drop into that. That's the best way. You don't want to try to control too much of anything. And we want to be aware. We want to move with awareness. And we want to honor the body. But we don't want to rigidly control things. And that's the difference. Bring your knee back to the center. Take the leg up in the air. Supporting your leg from behind. Again, you can use your strap here behind your leg. And then that lets you get to the toes and the ankle for our little rotations and stretching. We really like to get into those small joints, especially as we get older, or again, if you live in a cold climate this time of year, perhaps you're watching this, in the winter time or late spring, it's still cold, you've been wearing boots, all year, for much of the year, the winter season anyway. And now, we want to get some movement back in there. And we always want to get the movement in there. So anytime you get a chance to squeeze and stretch those toes and explore rotation in the ankle. That's great. Relaxing the foot. And then we're going to go into what's called inner thigh and outer thigh stretch. It's a variation of cradle pose. So I need to move a little bit so I give myself some room. So my right hand is going to support my right leg, and I'm going to ease this leg out to the side. I'm going to inhale it back up to the center, trade it off to the left hand, and let the leg slowly come over to the left. I'm really relaxed in my leg. You can do it a little more stretchy if you want to engage and root and lift, but it's nice to do it in a relaxed way to start out. And then be soft, because again, that helps to soften those really strong muscles in the hip joints. And you just explore. Again, you can exhale. Exhale usually helps us to soften and relax. And we'll inhale that leg back up to center. We're going to bend the knee. We'll grab hold of the foot. So again here, if you can with your hand, you're going to grab hold of the foot, place it on the top of the thigh, top of the left thigh, and then that knee is going to release, meaning your hip is going to release, the right hip. If your hand doesn't quite get to it or your foot doesn't get that far up, use a strap. Put a strap right around your foot and then hold that strap. And this is key to the pose, because if nothing is holding your leg, your foot, if your hand isn't holding the foot, your strap isn't holding and supporting the foot, then you're going to hold in the hip. And that's where we're trying to release. So as you have that grip on the foot with the strap or the hand, then I'm asking you to just release and relax through that right hip. And we do that through breath. So as you inhale, just breathe down into that hip joint. And then exhale and offer up some relaxation in that hip joint. Notice what happens. Inhale, take the breath down and into the area. And then exhale, let it go. You might have a lot of sensation there. It might feel fine. It might be nothing. It feels empty or blank in there. All that is good. It's just noticing. If there is sensation, the breath is going to help to release and soften that sensation. So notice if that happens for you. If you don't have a lot of sensation and nothing much is going on and you feel like you would like to stretch a little bit more, you can press the foot into the thigh and automatically, oh, I get a little more stretch. And that might feel good for restorative. Nothing wrong with engaging some muscles for a little bit and then relaxing it. But the restorative is the focus, the letting go and the releasing. So if your mind is all caught up in doing and you're thinking, oh, I want to get the most out of the class, so I'm going to engage and squeeze, that's not how you're going to get the most out of the class. The way to get the most out of this class is to actually really let go. Let go through both legs. Keep the handle on the foot. Relax through the spine, relax through the arms. Observe and feel. And then let's slowly bring that knee back up. Very gently bring it up. Very gently bring your foot to the floor. And very gently let your leg slide down and out. Slowing it down. Left knee comes up. And we're cradling this side. So once again, cradling the baby from side to side. So we can really start to slow down in the mind now. Oh, okay, this is what's happening. I can relax around that joint. I can let my leg be supported by my hands. I can maybe even relax in my eyes, cheeks, and jaw, and up through the neck and shoulders. Is there tension there? And we'll bring the knee back to the center. We'll take this leg up in the air. Again, use your strap or your hands as you can. And then toes and ankle. and noticing, just tuning in and observing. If, you know, you're doing this in the evening time, perhaps, maybe whatever time of day you're doing it, if you can do it in maybe a little darkened, really quiet space, and just let yourself get into what's happening in the moment, building that awareness. And as you relax the foot, and then we'll take this into our inner thigh and outer thigh stretch, where we support the leg, we ease the leg out to the left, start to feel maybe a little bit of stretch that inner thigh. We inhale it back up to the center, trade it off, and take it over to the other side. If you're near a wall and you hit the wall, you can use the wall. You can get a little bit of a stretch by pressing into that wall. Inhale it up to center, exhaling it over. Inhaling back to center, let's take it into reclined tree. Bend the knee, you grab hold of the foot with the hand or the strap, place it as high as you can on your thigh, and then start to let your knee release. The knee releases because of what's happening in the hip. So then we want to come back down into the legs, relax both legs, even that right leg. And then breathe down into your left hip. Nice, good deep breaths. And exhale, letting it go. And just observing that inner sensation. Maybe you get a little visual of it. Maybe you get some image, some symbol or some metaphor, some picture of how that is softening and melting for you. Maybe even emotion might come up. It's very possible at some point in the class. And emotion is also, it's just energy looking for a way out. So just let it out, just be with it. Sometimes people feel shaking in an area of their body. Just be with it and let it shake itself out. There's no pain involved. You're not pushing, you're not striving. It's just energy. That's the key thing. There's no pain. You're not pushing or striving. You're just holding a pose, and then some part is just a shaking. Let's breathe into that and let it soften. We'll take this knee back up slowly, foot to the floor, and we'll slide the leg down and out again. And just observe and feel, appreciating the moment of just being able to pause and tapping into more subtle sensations. And then let's bring both knees up. Both feet can come up off the floor. Take your hands, arms are straight, and place your hands on those kneecaps. So they're holding the knees. And again, we've got like baby, cradle baby legs, okay? Very loose and relaxed. Hands are supporting and they're gripping. If I let go, my legs are gonna drop out. Yeah, bring those hands there and I support and I relax through the hips. And then let's go ahead and take it into some knee circles. So you can close your eyes here for sure and guide those knees into small circles, whichever direction you want to start in. And you go inside to observe and feel. Gradually make your circles bigger. Explore what feels good. Does it all feel good? Awesome. Does just one little spot, this is the spot that just feels really sweet. And maybe there's another spot that, oh, geez, that's not really giving me any relief. You can explore it, but you don't have to stay there. And if circles don't feel good, then you can come into some rocking side to side. But make sure that you go in the opposite directions. Whatever way you're going, try to switch it up. And bring those knees back to center. We'll take this into our knee down twist. So often how I come into the twist, I bring my feet to the floor, I lift my butt up, I scoot it over a few inches to the left, I bring those knees in, and I just drop my knees over to the right. We're taking the knees to the right. You do what you need to do. If it feels good just to drop them over, do that. If you drop them over and you're like, oh, it doesn't feel so good, then just scoot your hips a little bit to the left. You'll find your sweet spot. Lengthen the spine so that shoulder blade is going to pull out a little bit. And we're going to reach overhead with the left side body. So as you inhale, the idea is that we're stretching from underneath the skin, from the belly, through the ribs, up through the armpit, all the way out through those fingertips on that inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to let that stretch go. Don't hold the breath. Don't hold the stretch. Inhale, take another slow stretch. Let it be a slow motion stretch. Feel it. Feel the beginning. Feel the genesis of it as best you can to the pinnacle, to the peak part of the stretch. And then again, feel that all release from the peak back down to the origin. And just a few more times, doing that nice inner full stretch, and then that full release. We'll take the arms out shoulder height, head turns away, and we'll relax through the ankles and the knees and the hips. Relaxing up through the shoulders and out through those arms. Let gravity do the work here. We don't have to do everything all the time. And just notice from this relaxed place that you can breathe in full and deep into the belly. Get a nice good expansion, filling up with breath. And then exhale. And at the very end of the exhale, maybe you can just do a little extra squeeze. And then let that go to take in another inhale. Relaxing through eyes, cheeks, and jaw. And we'll slowly bring these knees back up to center. Reset your hips. If you shifted those hips and that pelvis, you gotta bring it back to the center. And again, we just pause and breathe, slowing it down, going a little deeper inside, staying in there a little bit more. It might be challenging to do this at home, to do it on a video, but do the best you can to keep coming back inside the body. And then we'll take our stretch, our twist to the other side. So again, you can shift the hips, drop them over to the right, and then bring those knees over. That just helps to align the pelvis. It's much safer for the pelvis that way, to be aligned in that fashion. Again, but lengthening through the spine, so sometimes that little left side body, the bottom side, can get a little crunch. You want to get long there. The chest is opening up to the ceiling. Ideally, the right shoulder blade is going to be to the floor or very close to the floor. That creates that twist through the body. But we start with the side stretch. So that right arm is overhead, and we'll slowly stretch and lengthen from the belly up through ribs, up through the fingertips, and then on the exhale, we'll let it go. Observe what your body will allow you to do. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale to release. It's all about doing what your body can do in this moment. We don't want to push and strive in any yoga class. In restorative, we're going to our edge with our ability to relax, with our ability to release. There we find some edges too. Places that aren't willing to let go, mind that isn't willing to quiet down, breath that may have some tension in it. Those are all areas those are the areas that we work with, the same areas, just working at it from a different angle, a different perspective, a different facet of the practice. Arms come out shoulder height, head turns away. And once again here, we let go. Go back down to those ankles. Notice if there's holding. Go to the knees. Notice if there's holding. Let it go. Let go through the hips, the inner thigh. Let go up through the spine, up through the shoulders. All those places you start to know, right? For those of you that have been practicing for a while, you know your places. You know your usual, habitual places that you hold. You want to go to those first. And then when those let go, we're able to observe and feel the next layer. And the next layer, and so on. And that is our practice here. Nice, good, deep breaths. And then we'll slowly bring those knees back up. Hips back to center. Arms alongside. And again, we pause, softening and relaxing, appreciating the slowing down. Taking your left arm overhead. And we're going to roll ourselves all the way over to the left. So this is a transition pose. So those knees start to drop over, and then your hips start to pull over, and then you can start to bring that right arm over. Use your arm as a pillow if you can, your left arm. Your right arm can rest on your side body, it can rest in front of you, wherever you want to. And this is, you might have to make a little adjustment here. Some people feel like they need to drop all the way over with that knee. It doesn't matter. The idea here is that we're just, usually, we roll over and we pop ourselves right back up again. And so here, I just want us to take a little pause in this limbo place. And just be, I think, relax in limbo. A lot of us don't like limbo. We don't like unexpected change. Sometimes even expected change. You know, there's that time in between, and can we soften and relax right here? So try to put this into the poses, in between our poses, to give us that time. And then we'll slowly, like you're moving through honey, we'll make our way up. And we're going to have to use some belly muscles for sure, and a little bit of muscles in the arms to bring yourself up. We're going to make our way into table position, onto hands and knees. I'm just going to check my volume real quick. I did not do that before. All right, so we find our table. If you need extra cushioning for your knees, you get yourself some. You don't want to have like 3 inches, but just an inch, maybe 2 inches, and under both knees is usually enough of a nice soft blanket. Knees below the hips, hips width, wrists below those shoulders, shoulder width. And we're going to relax through the neck, relax through the shoulder blades, relax through the belly. And take that pause. And then let's round the back into cat. Draw the belly in, round your back up. So you're drawing your belly in, your tailbone's dropping, shoulder blades are drawing apart. And then as you exhale, you're releasing all that. The belly drops down, the tailbone lifts, the shoulder blades sink, and maybe the head lifts if it is okay in the neck. And we continue to move back and forth into your cat 1, into your cat 2. You can close the eyes and tune in, observe and feel the sensations, the breath, how the breath is working in this pose. Or in this movement, I should say. And we go slow, of course, so that we can have that awareness. What can we become aware of? And we'll come into a relaxed table, let neck go. And from here, we'll make our way into our first restorative pose. So we will use our cotton blanket, getting something like a rectangle size. And this is almost as long as my arm, pretty much. You want something with a little bit of a length. Okay, so we're going to use this for the spine. So usually you take the open-ended edge facing you, and that's the edge that you're going to roll up. So we can kind of hide those edges in the roll, and you get a nice tight roll. When you get your nice tight roll, you want to take the seam, you want to place it lengthwise on your mat, and you want the seam to be on the bottom. That way it won't unravel for you. It's a tricky, it seems like it's simple, but sometimes by the time you get onto it, seems the blanket is kind of all over the place. And I have to say that, maybe I'll come over here instead. That we're not really trying to be, I guess, anal retentive, but we're really trying to be aware. And it's particular. Restorative poses are particular in the sense that you want to find just right. And so it's important to use the props, properly, and to not have them all be lumpy, I guess, and to have them be smooth and firm all the way through to give you the support that you need. So that's sort of the technical piece to be aware of. So do the best you can. It's a learning process. You're going to sit with your back to this roll that you've created, and you don't want your butt to be right up close. You don't want to be up close, and you certainly don't want your butt to be on top of it. We want our head to be on top of it. So the butt comes away a couple of inches, and you can adjust. So here's the other thing too with restorative poses that many of you who are taking the pose, who are doing this class, you know already. But for anyone who might be doing this for the first time, you will probably do a little bit of readjusting once you're in the pose, and that is okay. So we start out, this few inches away, using your arms to lower yourself down. You come onto the elbows. Of course, the idea is that the spine is going to drape over. And so we don't just want to collapse onto it. We actually want to lengthen out and over this as best we can. And of course, we want the head to find a centered spot, the spine to be, the blanket to be in between the shoulder blades and all along the spine. And then you tune in to what's happening in your low back. I'm sorry, I got a little frog in my throat. If there's a little crunching or it doesn't feel good, you scoot down a little bit and up. Well, that's better. And there really should be the blanket, the bottom of the blanket should be by the bottom of your ribs. That's kind of a good marker. And of course, as I said, you want the head to be on the blanket. If your head is hanging off the blanket, that's not the pose. You can also draw the shoulder blades in a little bit more. And then we have the legs to contend with. For today, we're just going to let those legs slide down and out nice and easy. For people with sandbags, you can put sandbags on your thighs if you want to. Right on, you want kind of like the middle of the sandbag to be right on the joint. So you've got a little sandbag up on your pelvis and a little sandbag down on your thigh. And experiment with what feels right. So we are laying here, palms are up. We're settling in, eyes are closed. You also might find that you need to be able to notice what's happening in the neck and head. This can be very hard for people. So that if your chin is really pointing more up to the ceiling and it looks more that you're looking to the back, almost into the back of the wall behind you, then you want to get maybe a soft little blanket. And you want to support the neck, but you're giving a little lift to the head. And when you do that, it's just this very simple effort. You don't want to get like a big ball to shove underneath your neck and have to do the same thing. And that's not what we want. We're supporting the head and the neck at the same time. So you just do a partial roll, scoot it right onto the top of the shoulders, lay the head back down, and that's going to give a more even placement for your head. Okay, so I know I'm giving you a lot of thinking stuff here, but I'm trying to combine some teaching and some guidance along with the letting go into it. So once you found that sweet spot, then we close the eyes. And let's breathe down into the feet and the legs. Feel that breath flow down to the feet and the legs. Visualize it, feel it. And then as you exhale, Let the feet and the legs go soft and relaxed. And then breathing into the pelvic bowl. Visualize, feel that breath flowing into the pelvis. Low back, low belly. And as you exhale, feeling muscles and organs relax. Feel the pelvis get heavier. Take that next breath and bring awareness to your spine from the low back all the way to the shoulder blades, all the way to the neck. So you make your way up from the lower to the middle to the upper, expanding into the side ribs, the kidneys, the shoulder blades. And as you exhale, you're relaxing and releasing the muscles along the spine and all the areas of the back. Bringing your awareness to the navel, and take that breath from the navel on up to the collarbone, the notch in your neck, expanding that awareness and breath of the whole front of your body. And as you exhale, relaxing through the abdomen, the ribs, the chest, going soft. And then visualize, feel the breath flowing into the shoulders, all the way down to the wrists and fingers. And as you exhale, relax and let go through the wrists and fingers. And then breathing into the neck and face. And as you exhale, we'll release and relax, letting go through the eyes and the cheeks and the jaw. Feel yourself just getting heavier, releasing to the floor. This is what we are open to receive in this practice. This is that place of acceptance, of allowing. And you might go back through, you might find yourself going back through the body and just, oh, let me see if I can release that area a little bit more. Or, oh, I feel a little tension over here, I'm going to release that. And oh, darn, that common area, that habitual area, that's got tension in it again. Let me let it go. And just breathing full and deep. Full and deep means just a steady, even breath for you. A breath that feels as expansive as it can without straining or struggle. And that will change over time. Noticing the tendencies, especially if you're at home, the tendencies for the mind to want to pull you out of this space, to pull you out of being present. And this is also the practice. Is to let go of that urge, come back to the breath. Come back to the body, appreciating that what you are doing here, giving yourself a great gift, receiving it. And the mind will eventually calm down. The mind can often be like a weed. And so the mind is very helpful, very useful to us. Kind of important in the worldly world, for sure. But on the yoga mat, we really want to turn down the volume. We want to give it some rest time. And this is how we do it. We just feel the breath, feel your belly filling up, and then feel it releasing. When the mind starts to wander off again, you just come back to that breath. Very, very simple, and just repeat it as many times as necessary. And eventually, you will, like the weed that doesn't get watered, it will kind of dry up, and that habitual, unnecessary use of the mind then will start to drop away. So let's just begin to deepen the breath. Gently moving fingers and toes. As we go deeper into the class and deeper into relaxation, you really do want to take your time coming out. You don't want to shift very quickly. And so this is how I practice it and how I teach it. It's just get into toes and fingers first, feel a little bit of movement, and then you can relax those fingers and toes, and then you can get into maybe some ankles and some wrists, maybe some elbows and knees. And then just very slowly, again, like you're moving through honey. Slowly bring those knees up. And you pause. Oh, how does that feel? And then to come out of the pose, we're going to use that limbo transition. So technically, we always use the left arm during class to turn over. Where you're saying, I'm going to use my right arm. But if you can use your left, then do that. So that left arm is going to go overhead. Now, depending on what's happening in your shoulder, of course, you may not be able to get it over there. So just, you can just get it off to the side. And what you're doing is, again, you're going to just roll those knees over. The hips are going to roll over. You're gently going to roll off the cushion. You use that arm, maybe is underneath you. If that doesn't feel good, you want to use your body as much as possible. But if it's not feeling good to use your body, well, gosh, you've got a blanket. You've got that roll right by you. And if you need that little support, your arm isn't going to do the job, then you do that. You need to shift your hips, you shift your hips. And we pause for a moment. And breathe and feel. Appreciating the change in direction. It's nice to be in restorative poses, but we also want it to feel nice coming out. We never want it to feel uncomfortable in a restorative pose. Just like eating just the right amount of food. You eat a mouthful too much and it doesn't feel good. Right? So we're finding that just the right amount. And then we'll go ahead and we'll lift ourselves up. So again, nice slow motion, using your hand, using your elbow, just to slowly get yourself up. And you can always just hang out here too. It's very nice to pause in between. Just breathe and just feel the settling that's happening. And if you can tap into that, then you're tapping into kind of a more subtle layer of the body, of the physical body, maybe even the energetic body. And from here, I'll guide you into what's called floating cloud. It's one of the more popular poses, my favorite pose. And what we need our cotton blanket that we use for our spinal roll. That will do us well. We'll just unroll it and open it up. And then we're going to be using our bolster. So if you don't have a bolster, you're going to find something that gives you a pretty even surface with some good height. It doesn't have to be exactly 6 inches thick. You might find something that's 4 inches thick. You might be able to take, maybe if you've got a couple of wool blankets or some fern blankets, you can take either 2 on top of each other. And it's not quite as long, but if you're short-waisted, which a lot of people in class really kind of have this short span of space, this might work for you. Or you just might have to use a bunch of things. The key thing to this is that with the cotton blanket, we're going to roll up the short end this time. And we roll it up in nice and tight. The seam is on the bottom. That seam is going to go at the top end where you're going to place your head. the bolster or whatever your firm support is going to be kind of like a T shape, but there's a space in between. And then where we're going with this is to place the pelvis and the chest on the firm support. So you can see that you don't want like a big fluffy feather thing here. You really want something with some firmness to support the pelvis and to support the chest. And then the head, then you've got the space here where your chin is free and it's not jammed into the bolster. And your forehead is then going to rest on there. So it's almost like a massage table that you created for yourself here. And then some little adjustments. Let me give you a little bit. Sometimes this the head doesn't feel quite right here. It doesn't, or the neck, the head or the neck doesn't feel right. And so you might need to, most typically people have to increase the height. So you can take, you got your other little blanket, you can put that in underneath, you can raise it up, and that might feel better. As you get into the, as you release into the pose, you might find like, oh man, that's too high now. And you just slowly pull it out. And then just reset. And okay, now you're back, you're letting go. And you've released into it a little deeper. That's fine. It's all good. So, and the backs of the legs, some people have found that they're between, let's see, you can't see my feet. That sometimes the ankles or the knees, sometimes the knees aren't even touching for some of us. And then sometimes it just doesn't feel good to have the tops of your feet flat like that. So in that case, you can use another blanket. And if your knees aren't touching the floor, then you want to put it a little closer to the bolster so that your knees will touch. If it's the ankle issue, then this might be a little harder to do, but you want, let's see. What I want to try to just convey here is that what we want for the ankles is just a place for them to get that support on. And then it's always these little touches that happen in class. Now, oftentimes in class, I am helping people and I'm doing these little adjustments for them. And then it's just like, doing an eyeglass test. And they're, can you see better this way or can you see better this way? You think one way is okay. And then when you try the other way, you're like, oh, that's better. And so that's oftentimes the thing here. So take time to find you're just right. Really honor your body and say, oh, what would happen if I put a little something here? Oh, that feels really good. Then do it. Most of the time, it's going to be okay. All right, so once you're settled in, then we're going to relax again. So you're just going to, I'm going to come out of the pose so that you can hear me. So you stay in the pose and settle in. So this is called floating cloud. Eyes are closed. Take that breath and breathe it down into your feet and legs. Visualize, feel it filling up. And as you exhale, feeling the feet, maybe even the toes, the ankles, and all through the legs, releasing and relaxing. Feeling the muscles release their grip and letting the bones get heavy. Nice opening for the hip. Take the breath into the pelvic bowl, filling up that bowl of low back stuff and low belly stuff, organs and muscles, tissue. And as you exhale, feeling that release and letting go, relaxing through the pelvis. Feel it sink into your cushion. That's what it's there for, supporting you. Take that breath now from the navel on up to the collarbone. Nice, good, deep breath, filling up and expanding through your whole body. Bring that awareness and the breath through the whole front of your body as best you can. And then as you exhale, Feel it give way and sink into the bolster. Bringing that awareness then to the spine and that low back. Feel that breath traveling up the back, traveling up, and then the breath fans out to the low and the middle and the upper sides of the back. And then as you exhale, all those parts start to release and soften. Again, it's kind of being supported by the front body, which is supported by the bolster. Bring awareness to those arms. Now those arms are really just kind of draped gently, a little relaxed bent elbow, and they're draped around the head blanket. So as we breathe into those arms all the way down, lots of tension we can hold in the shoulders, even the fingers, and then as you exhale, relaxing and letting go. Again, muscles release their grip, bones get heavy, and maybe those arms want to just do this natural readjustment. And then breathing into the neck and face and taking that breath full and deep. And as you exhale, relax and release through the eyes and the cheeks and the jaw. Feel your head. Just again, be supported. It can give way. Just like someone's holding you, like you're being cradled. Right? Or you're nestled in some nice little nest somewhere. Whatever image wants to come through, whatever makes you feel safe and settled and something where you just feel like you can relax into, go for it. That's the fun part of, or one of the fun parts of restorative poses, is that not that you wander away and get lost in that, but that you use it as a tool. You use that symbolism or visualization, whatever comes into you. That's information to access, and that helps to support what you're doing physically. So just breathing and settling into your floating cloud. And just noticing, just sort of meandering around, noticing again for those habitual tensions. It's our second pose. Hopefully we're starting to soften and release a little bit more, maintaining some of that release. But there's still going to be some things that crop up. And, find your habitual areas. This is a learning place for you too. This is a place for you to observe and feel, not so much to memorize and strategize and problem solve, but just to observe and feel. You get a lot of learning that way as to what your body needs and how it works and how much it appreciates being able to be relaxed. And just staying with it a little bit longer. And if you need to adjust, so here's that thing, as you start to relax and release, maybe you need to make a shift. Maybe it's not feeling so good now. And if it's not feeling so good, then you can gently, very, very gently and slowly come out of it. You'll be coming out of it shortly, but I just want to give that permission, or let you give yourself the permission to come out of a pose at any time, even a restorative pose. Again, if you have music at home, by all means, be playing some music. You might hear noises here from outside the studio. Maybe it just makes you feel like you're in the studio. And that's the wonderful thing that can happen here, is that for those of you who have been in the studio space, it really is, you just close your eyes, you get into that nice relaxed space, it feels like you're in the studio. I'm getting that feeling that everyone's here. Whoever's taking this class, I get a sense that you're here and that you are enjoying and settling in quite nicely to the pose. And we will bring awareness to the fingers and toes, or to the breath first. Come to the breath first. Just notice if that breath starts to just deepen a little bit, and you can feel your belly press in as you inhale, expand into your inhale. You can feel your belly press into the bolster. And then as you exhale, you can feel that release. It's a very nice sort of textual sensation. And then just moving fingers and toes little bits. And very slowly. And you might be a little behind the curve here. You might be a little ahead of the curve of my direction. It's okay. When you're ready to come out of the pose, you're going to bring those hands underneath the shoulders. And then we're very slowly going to lift ourselves up. You're going to press. You might have to, I would like you probably to use a little bit of belly muscle just to support that final lift through the pelvis. You draw in some of your belly muscles to help slowly bring you up to table. That's just going to be a nice support for the back. If you had a roll underneath your ankles, you can push that out of the way. You can hang here in your table. You can let your head, shoulder blades, and belly relax here for a breath or two or longer. Many people like to come back into child's pose or puppy pose. So I'll show you both. Child's pose is to bring your sits bones all the way back to your heels, where you can let your head rest on the end of the bolster, or you can bring the head all the way down. If it can get to the floor, it gets to the floor. That's child's pose. Puppy pose is to, maybe there's stuff going on in the knees or those ankles, don't like to bend or flatten much. So maybe you just come a little ways back. And you can take, again, the head to the bolster, or you can take the head all the way to the floor. The idea is that it gives you a chance just to relax through the upper body, a little bit through the pelvis too. Nice little counter stretch. And then we'll bring ourselves up. And we'll come to sit. Let's see here. We're going to do another familiar pose. This is just a reclined variation. And what we need for this one, we can do a little something with the knees too. So you can have maybe your firmer blanket nearby you. You'll need a couple of blocks or your books, and you'll need your bolster. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take the blocks and we're going to put them in a particular configuration. So this is medium height when you're on the short, on the width of your block. The long end is going to be down, and then the big flat part of your block is going to be flat. Is going to be on the floor. So it looks like you made a little T. And then you're going to take your bolster, and you're going to put your bolster on top of it, so that it's supported at the head and it's supported at the torso. So kind of those 2/3 of the bolster are supported. And then you're going to turn yourself back to, and here you can scoot your butt close. And then we have some options for the legs. You can do this with just the legs straight out when you come into this. You can do this with a roll. You can make a nice firm roll and do the pose this way. You can use your sandbags. You can put them on in the thighs. You can put them on your feet. And then all we're going to do is to, again, we're going to root and lift. So we're going to press our sits bones down, lengthen up, and you want to drape yourself over your bolster. And then you might need to make a little adjustment. We're drawing the shoulder blades in. The head, we want to lengthen through the neck. So again, if the head is too tilted back, and if it feels like, again, you're looking up and back, so notice where you're looking. We really want to be able to, you might be able to adjust yourself, and take your index finger and middle finger to those little occipital bones, right, on either side of the neck behind the ear, and you can just sort of push up and pull up and bring that head down. The other thing that can happen is we could actually get, some of us can get too dropped here in the chin as opposed to this way. So if we're dropped too far in the chin, then we also still need to get a little support and lift. So this is where our green, my little green blanket, that's where this can come in handy. And again, you don't want to make it so big that it's going to, it's going to drop your chin down like this, and it's going to collapse. We just want to create a little even space. So that's why just a little bit of blanket oftentimes does the trick. And then it's that same thing. I'm going to take the end of the blanket. I'm just going to give that half a roll, scooting it right up onto the tops of the shoulders and laying my head down. And oftentimes that's just enough to adjust the head. Play around with that. You can, again, have the knees straight or have them on the roll. Palms are going to be face up. If you want to have a blanket over you, have a blanket over you. If you have an eye pillow, your own eye pillow, you can put that on. And we'll close the eyes again. And we'll come back into that space. So again, if you're doing this for the first time, there's a lot of that thinking thing going on. Those that have been doing this class for a while, you're probably barely listening to me, and that's fine. You know what to do, and you're observing. So with the eyes closed, let's come back down. Let's take that breath. Visualize and feel that breath go all the way down to the feet and the legs. And as you exhale, relax and release. Maybe it's a little more subtle to feel it. Maybe you're just tuning into that and you're feeling even that subtle release through the legs. And take your next breath into the pelvic bowl, full and deep. And as you exhale, we'll release and relax and let go through the pelvis, the organs, the muscles, the tissues. Maybe feel a heaviness, a drop. Take your next breath and breathe it up into the spine. Right. Up into the spine, and then let that breath fan out, low, middle, upper. And as you exhale, let all of that sink and settle into the bolster, the support. Bring awareness to the front of the body. And let's inhale from the navel on up to the collarbone. Fanning out that inhale from the low belly, the ribs, and the chest. Covering as much area as we can with awareness and breath. And then as you exhale, softening and relaxing, letting that settle and sink. And then breathing into those arms. From the shoulders to the elbows, into the wrists and fingers. And as you exhale, let go, soften and relax. This is an area where most people are feeling comfortable with the arms draped this far. If it doesn't feel good, if it's starting to pull at the chest or bothers the shoulders, then what you need to do is you'll need a few extra cushions to raise those arms up and support your arm from the upper arm down to the hand to help release. And breathe into the neck and face. And let the eyes and the cheeks and the jaw release and relax. Again, just come back to that steady breath in and out. observing where you can feel the breath going. How far can you sense that inhale? Your mind wanders off, you come back to the breath. If you need to make little adjustments, just do it very mindfully, slowly, very minutely, and then resettle. If something was working and now it's not, then you can probably remove that. Doesn't feel good with something underneath your knees? Just gently roll it out. We're still taking responsibility and being accountable to our body and how it is in this moment and what it needs. So often we override what the body requests, right? We all do it. Sometimes just little ways. Sometimes little ways, but we do it a lot, like a cumulative effort. Sometimes it's just more acute. You know, these time periods where we just push and overdo. This is our chance to reconnect, to recalibrate, to reset the buttons in the body. We're allowing for healing. We're allowing for re-energizing. And in this day and age, that is a great gift. Know that you should be given this gift. It is not selfish. The more you are able to give to yourself in terms of this kind of time, it's rejuvenating, rebalancing, re-energizing time, is going to be received by others. What you give to yourself here, you are then able to give to others in your time, your energy, your love, your mind. And let's again just deepen the breath. Noticing if the breath has changed any since you first started class. Does it feel fuller? Does it feel like it gets into other places? If it doesn't yet, then just continue this practice, continue to do these classes, and you will notice a change. Moving fingers and toes. Relaxing fingers and toes. Maybe a little bit of ankle, wrist, knee. You can start to engage. You can slowly begin to bring your feet up. If you have a roll underneath your knee, you can gently roll that away. So noticing that tendency just to kind of just spring up to move more quickly, notice if that has slowed down a little bit. So, oh, I don't have to be that way. I don't have to do that. It's good practice in doing something different in a very safe place, but in a very deep way. All right, and you can move your knees a little side to side if that feels good. We call this knee drops or windshield wipes. And that can feel good to some of us. Maybe low back is okay. And again, we're going to roll ourselves over to the left. You're a little higher now, so just be aware. You might want to shift your hips a little to the right, and then let those knees drop over, and just as effortlessly as you can, let those knees drop, and you just start to pull that top arm over. And you just kind of slide off your blanket. You don't worry about what happens. You know, you can just do the least amount of effort to get it out of the way. And if you need a pillow, put that pillow nearby. If you don't need a pillow, that arm is right there. And we're pausing. Breathe and feel. Being okay with not being in any pose in particular at this point in time. And then we'll open the eyes and we'll slowly make our way up. Again, nice and slow. Oh, hang out, breathe and feel. And we'll make our way into our next to the last pose, which is going to be legs up the wall. So for you, it might be legs up the chair, legs up the refrigerator, maybe even legs up the bolster. So I'm going to show you the full pose at the wall. You go sideways to the wall, and then but you kind of tilt your pelvis a little bit so that your cheek, one of your butt cheeks, is kind of almost like it's going up the wall. To make it a little easier. And then you're going to come down onto your elbows, and as you do that, you're going to start to flip your feet up the wall, and then you rotate yourself so that your legs are up the wall. Your butt is as close as it can be. So this is key. This is a challenge for many people, is to get that butt close to the wall. If you can touch and the legs can be straight, that's what you're going for. If you touch the butt to the wall and it feels like your knees want to bend, you probably can move away maybe an inch or so, and that will ease it up a little bit. And this is the basic pose. Some people, again, if they've got sandbags, you're able to put a sandbag on your foot if you want to do that. Other variations, I'll run through those quick. If you you can just do a very simple variation where maybe you can take all your blankets and you can stack them up. And you can put your legs more like this. And it's a modified version, but it's good. You can do that. If you've got a chair or a couch that's a little bit higher oftentimes, and oftentimes that's as long as it's the right height here and feels okay from your knees and your legs, you can put the shins, the calves are what would set on the seat of the chair or the couch. Okay, and you can do the inversion that way. It all works, believe me. Whatever you can do, improvise, be creative. All right. So once you have settled into your pose, you've got your straps if you want a strap. You want your torso to be perpendicular to the wall. And you don't want to be kind of at a kitty corner, be sideways. Really pay attention to this and do the best you can to get yourself as aligned with the wall as you can. Those arms can just rest face up, a few inches away from you. Some people like to bend the elbows and let everything drop to the floor. That can feel nice for the back. And we'll close the eyes. If you want to cover yourself, you can cover yourself. Eyes are closed. Now what I want you to do is I want you to guide yourself through. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of silence here, a lot of possibility for the mind to wander off. So do your best to stay. We've been working on this all class, bringing your awareness down to the feet. I'll get you started. Take the breath down there into feet and legs, and then let them go soft and relaxed. And just continue, go through the rest of the body. I'll catch up with you. Observing and feeling. Noticing if there's any little adjustment that does need to be made, or if every part of your body feels copacetic and everybody's happy with everything. That's fantastic. That's wonderful. And if something does need to be adjusted, that's wonderful too, to be able to hear that and listen to that and honor that and respect that part of the body. Make the change, the shift that you need to, and then just to ease right back into the relaxation. And appreciating the sensations, whatever you notice. Some people do like to put a sandbag on their belly too. If you don't have a sandbag, maybe you've got a weighted pillow or weighted blanket. It's the same thing. It does the same thing. Helps to soothe and calm the body. Right, and then let's begin to deepen the breath. Moving fingers and toes. You got your straps. You've got your sandbags on your feet. You can't do that just yet. You can slowly, if you're ready to. You can take your sandbags off your feet. Take your sandbag off your belly, allowing you to move fingers and toes, and then the ankles. And then letting those heels just slide down very gently. Knees can be together, knees can be apart. You can bring the soles of your feet together. That can give you a nice little counter stretch. And again, we're going to take that left arm overhead, and we're going to roll ourselves over. Knees first, knees and feet, then the hips, then the torso, then the head, and pause. And we'll open the eyes. And where we're going next is just for a short Shavasana. We've basically been doing Shavasana the whole class. But we're going to come into the basic Shavasana form, relaxation form of laying on your back with as minimal props as possible. And it's just a short one. It's like the cherry on the cake. So I'm just going to go kind of deep, quick and deep. So ease yourself down onto the back. Ease those legs down and out. Settling in, tucking the shoulder blades. Again, this is nice. If you want a blanket, put a blanket over you. Eye pillow. If you want to do that, do that. And that's all going to help with subduing the senses, which, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is what this whole practice is about. It's calming those senses and the sense organs. Okay, so you know, the muscles around the eyes can get tense. Even the muscles around the ears can get tense, and around the mouth. Our skin can get tense. So, and hold that tension. So this is getting at a deeper level, a deeper layer. All right, so once you are settled, ankles are dropping out to the side, shifting the hips, tucking the shoulder blades in. We will go through the relaxation. So let's sometimes I will do yoga nidra in our restorative classes as well, which is a little bit slightly longer relaxation and very guided relaxation. Many people like. So just stay tuned and come to other classes. All right, let's breathe down into the feet and the legs. Visualize, feel the feet go, the breath going down into the feet and the legs. And as you exhale, let the feet and the legs go soft and relaxed. Take your next breath and breathe it into the pelvis, the pelvic bowl. Nice, good deep breath. Bring it all in. And as you exhale, exhale anything that is no longer necessary, that doesn't need to be there. Let it go. Take your next breath again into that spine, up the spine, fanning out into the rest of your back. Really bringing that awareness to include as much of your back as possible, being inclusive and encompassing. And as you exhale, let that relaxation, that release be full, encompassing. Breathing into the arms, from the shoulders down to the elbows, into the wrists and fingers, involving the whole arm on either side. And as you exhale, feeling that release and letting go all the way through. And bringing awareness into the neck and the face. Feel that breath and filling up and around your eyes, the cheeks and the jaw. And as you exhale, feeling the eyes release, let those muscles go, let the cheek muscles go, the jaw muscles, the tongue relaxing, the neck relaxing, feeling the skin across your whole body, just releasing, settling in just to breath. Allow yourself to be breathed. If the mind wanders at all, just come back to the breath. If a body part has tension in it, bring it to the breath and let it relax. Just begin to deepen your breath. Gently begin to move fingers and toes. Allow for a full body stretch to come. So just let the body start to open up. Take the arms wherever they want to go. And take that breath full and deep as you stretch. And then as you exhale, release and relax, letting go of that stretch. As you let go of that stretch, bring the knees up and into your chest. Arms come up and around. Maybe the arms come around or behind your knees instead. And just give a little squeeze, a little hug of appreciation and gratitude from yourself to yourself. Right arm now extends overhead. And we roll over to the right side. As you come all the way over to that side, once again, we'll pause in this limbo place. This will be our closing place for class. So using your arm, using a pillow if you need to, adjusting your hips if you need to, keeping the eyes closed, staying with the breath. And from here, we set our intention for our rest of our evening or the rest of our day. So over the next 24 hours, setting intention. How do you choose to be in your next 24 hours? What do you choose to take with you from
this practice. It's kind of setting an intention for yourself of what you choose to be, how you choose to be, what you choose to take with you. And then you take that intention, bring it to the heart center. And then just staying right where you are. Start that singing bell. And let the intention go with the bell. Carrying it off. And as you are ready, that will conclude our practice today. And you can, as you're ready, you can slowly get yourself up and gather your things together, or just leave them there like a kid's playroom. Thanks for joining class. I really appreciate it. This is Linda at Sweet 7 Yoga and Ayurveda out of Holton, Maine. Enjoy your day and your evening. Peace. Namaste.